I'll repeat. I was debating with myself what to focus our talk on. Although the focus on our talk really makes not much difference, because the main thing is we focus on ourselves. The main thing is to get to understand ourselves and what we are doing and where we are going. That's the most important thing. To get to know ourselves and to understand what our goals are, what our capabilities are, what blessings Hashem gives us. Nevertheless, usually, the parsha of the week is Vzos Habracha, and Vzos Habracha we're not going to read now publicly in the shul for another 3 weeks, so it's a long way off till Simchas Torah.
Oh, right.
That's when we read Vzos Habracha.
That's 3 weeks?
Approximately.
What are we going to do with
3 times.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's good. It'll sink in a bit,
Right.
and then we do the Parashas Bereshis in one day?
Parashas Bereshis in one day.
Oh boy. That's Simchas Torah.
Simchas Torah. Big job. Anyways, and then immediately we have Yom Kippur, Sukkot. And as it seems that tomorrow in Mitzvah Hashem, we're also going to have a general class. So therefore I decided that today we will base our talk on the Parsha of the week, Vzos Habracha, since we're not going to have another chance. And tomorrow we'll try to focus in on the immediate thing, on Yom Kippur and maybe Sukkot, whatever we will be able to accomplish. Vzos Habracha, as you all know, and you'll learn that Vzos Habracha 3 times in Mitzvah Hashem, is the last parsha of the Torah. And it is a parsha that is entirely focused essentially on Moshe Rabbeinu. Everything in Vzos Habracha involves directly Moshe Rabbeinu. The first part of it is the blessing that Moshe Rabbeinu is giving to every tribe, every shevet, private, personally, as it says, Lifnei Moshe, before he departs, before he says goodbye to them. And then he gives a tremendous bracha to the entire Jewish nation. He glorifies the Jewish nation, Moshe's own view of the Jewish nation. Then there is that moment when Moshe goes up on the mountain as Hashem told him, and Hashem gives him the opportunity to see the entire Eretz Yisrael, the entire land of Israel. And as Rashi explains, and you will learn it in Mitzvah Hashem, that he didn't just show him the geographic layout of Eretz Yisrael. He identified each part of Eretz Yisrael, associating it with the tribes that live therein, and the entire history of that land. Moshe Rabbeinu was shown the entire future history of Eretz Yisrael, of the Jewish people. All the way to the destruction of Mikdash and the exile and the redemption, everything there. And Hashem showed him the entire future.
Excuse me. Shmuel, is it your bag? Or Mordechai? Is it yours?
You can borrow it. No, I'll take mine.
It's not yours?
No.
Okay, so I'll borrow it. Because I'm going to Canada for a few days, because I need a new stamp in my passport. so I can't put too long in it.
Okay. Be well. Have a good trip.
Yeah, but I'm going to say goodbye
A good year.
before I'm going. I'm not going yet.
Oh, okay. Okay.
How much nozzle there?
Rashi points out certain things. Rashi says when the Chumash mentions that Moshe Rabbeinu, that Hashem showed him Dan, the tribe of Dan. Hashem showed him Mabe HaYarden, the valley of the Yarden. Rashi explains what each one of these things imply, what each one of these things meant to Moshe Rabbeinu. He showed him how Shlomo HaMelech is building the Beis Hamikdash. He showed him how the Bnei Dan from the tribe of Dan, make an Avodah Zarah, put up a Tzelem and Avodah Zarah. Two completely opposite things. And what was the great thing for Moshe Rabbeinu to be shown how the Bnei Dan make Avodah Zarah? He shows him the Beis Hamikdash, and then he shows him Eretz Yisrael, each part of Eretz Yisrael, how it was in its glorious days, in its developmental days, in its youth, and how it was in its decline and its destruction. So we're just pointing out these points, which immediately should make us, wonder. What is this about? Why did Hashem show Moshe? And then the latter part of the Pasha, the last 8 psukim of Pasha's Vzos deal actually with the period after Moshe Rabbeinu's passing. After Moshe Rabbeinu already passed. It says before, Vayomos Shom Moshe, Moshe died in the mountain, Vayigbe Moshe, and they buried him. Rashi says Hashem himself buried him, or that he buried himself. There's different explanations. And then afterwards there's 8 psukim that talk about Moshe. Talk about Moshe's greatness and all the great things that he did. Talks about the Yeshua, how Yeshua took over from Moshe as Hashem had directed him. And that there was no greater Novi, no Novi like Moshe, no greater, on par with Moshe, ever after in the Jewish people. And it enumerates in brief, pointed mention the various great things that Moshe Rabbeinu did, referring to them from their greatness perspective. Hayod HaChazok, the strong arm. Rashi says the strong arm refers to the fact that he was able to receive the luchis from Hashem. The strong arm. Hamoira HaGodol, all the great miracles that he performed. And then Asher Osa Moshe Le'ine Kol Yisrael, which is the last words of the Pasha, the last words of the Torah. Asher Osa Moshe Le'ine Kol Yisrael, that Moshe did Le'ine Kol Yisrael within eyesight in front of all the Yidden. Rashi says, what is this referred to? This refers to the fact that Moshe Rabbeinu broke the luchas. When he came back from the mountain and saw that Eden had the egel, Moshe Rabbeinu took the luchas and he broke them. This took enormous strength of heart. And it says in the soil, his heart rose above all obstacles, and he broke the luchas in front of all the Yidden. And that's the conclusion of the Parsha, the conclusion of the Torah. So in a Sikha, in a marvelous Sikha of the Rebbe asks some very obvious and really perplexing questions. Very simple. This is the great phrase that the Torah was able to find on Moshe, that he broke the luchas. Moshe's history. Look what Moshe did. He took it out of Mitzrayim. He built a nation, crossed them. He split the Yam Suf. He brought the man, he brought the water. He led the nation for 40 years. He gave them a Torah. He taught them. He established a whole national system. The last thing that the Torah mentions, the last thing must be the greatest, right? That's what we seal off with. He broke the luchas. Not only did he break the luchas, but he broke the luchas in front of them, for them to see. And that's the emphasis, that's the final statement in the Torah. There are all kinds of explanations from the Foshim on this, and the Rebbe essentially brings them down and says that it doesn't explain the major question. Really, it's perplexing. This is the biggest smile. This is the big praise on Moshe Rabbeinu. He was able to, he broke the laws. And even if we would find some way to say that this showed, so to speak, the greatest and power that Moshe Rabbeinu showed in being able to break the luchas, but the breaking of the luchas itself is a very sad moment, a very disturbing moment, a very negative moment. The Torah should seal off with that mention of the breaking of the luchas. We have a klal in the Torah, which I'm sure you already encountered, that in Torah we try to finish off with a good thing, with a positive thing. We don't finish off with a negative thing. Sometimes we have, we have to, Shabbos we have to call up 7 people, a minimum of 7 people. And each one of the 7 people begins at a certain point and ends at a certain point. And we take pains to make sure that each ending and each beginning of the beginning and ending of each aliyah is with something positive, with something good. For instance, in the Toichacha, you know what the Toichacha, I think mentioned the Toichacha is that very severe admonishment that Moshe Rabbeinu gives the Yidden twice, once in Pashas Bechokoisai and once in Pashas Kesovei, very long, what they call curses, Techoches, Pashas Klolis, very long Pasha. So we need 7 kriyim, 7 people to be called up. So Pashas Bechokoisai, you take a look, the first 5 kriyim are very small pashas, because the major part of the pasha of the Seder is this Teichacha, and we can't stop in the middle because there's not a good spot to stop. So the Teichacha we read all in one shot. And the Teichacha does not, when the beginning to read the Teichacha is not from the Teichacha point. It begins first from some blessing, from a good, positive thing, and at the end of the Teichacha there is also one posuk that seals off with a good thing. This is a cloud. This is everyone in the Torah. All of a sudden, the whole Torah seals off with something so negative, reminiscent of of the Egel and Nissan, of breaking the Luchas, doesn't make sense. And then furthermore, the Pasuk, the Torah itself, the words in the Torah is, at finish the Pasuk is, L'eine kol Yisrael. So the last word is Yisrael. It's an allusion to the fact that Moshe Rabbeinu broke the Luchas in front of all the Yidden. But the word Yisrael itself, so to speak, in an express and open way, it's not a bad thing. But if you look in the Rashi, the last word in Rashi is Shibarto, that you broke. That's what Rashi, actually the word that mentions the breaking of the Luchas, which is totally unnecessary. Rashi could have worded his comment in a way, it's a long comment, Rashi could word it in a way to finish off with a more positive word, not the Shibarto that you broke. So this is a phenomenal question that the Rebbe asks, which needs an explanation. And to answer this, the Rebbe brings down from a medrash, what's called Toned Ve'Eliyahu. It's a medrash called Toned Ve'Eliyahu, which is essentially a medrash of Eliyahu Hanovi, that they asked a question and Eliyahu Hanovi answered. It's called Toned Ve'Eliyahu. And it says over there that Torah and Yisrael are the first things in all of the creation. The whole creation was for the sake of Torah and Yisrael. As we know, Beis Reishis, you all heard that. Beis Reishis for two Reishis. So then he asked the question, these are two things which are primary things in the creation. Which one of these things precedes the other? Which one is first? And he answers, it has to be that Yisrael, Yisrael is before Torah. How do we know that? Because it says in the Torah, Daber Bnei Yisrael, speak to Bnei Yisrael. So if the Torah says speak to Yisrael, it means in the Bnei Yisrael already exists before. And the Rebbe further emphasizes, and he says, since this inyan, Daber Bnei Yisrael, speak to Bnei Yisrael, is something which is open in the Torah, and it's quite obvious the answer that Bnei Yisrael preceded the Torah. So what's the question in the first place? It's so obvious that in order to write the Torah, you had to have Yisrael to write the Torah. Therefore, Rabbi says, it's clear that the question was not which one was first time-wise, chronologically. Which one was first in terms of Madrega? Which one is preceded the other? Which one is higher? Which creation is greater? The creation of Torah? Which godly creation is greater, the one of Torah or that of Israel? That's the question. And the answer is that Israel, the creation of Israel, is greater than that of Torah. How do we understand this? As a matter of fact, this is so obvious in the fact that Moshe Rabbeinu, who received the Luchos from Hashem's hand, so to speak. Holy Luchos, this is talking about the first Luchos. The first Luchos were not even made did not come from physical stock. Not on the second Luchos that Moshe Rabbeinu cut a stone out of the mountain. The first Luchos were given to Moshe directly by Hashem. Hashem created the writing and the Luchos itself, directly from above. And Moshe Rabbeinu takes these luchas and cracks them. What does that mean? So, in Rashi, there are in two different places, two different explanations of why Moshe Rabbeinu broke the luchas. When Rashi describes the original first time when Moshe Rabbeinu came down from the mountain and he saw the Egel, he saw the Eden dancing around the Egel, to the luchas and he cracked them. Rashi says that Moshe Rabbeinu simply made a calculation in his mind. He says there's one mitzvah. There are many mitzvahs, but even for one mitzvah, like the mitzvah of Korban Pesach, it says that Korban Pesach cannot be eaten by someone, a ben neicher, a yid who had gotten involved in other faiths. Not allowed to do Korban Pesach. Even one mitzvah, someone who strayed off, so to speak, from a unique path of being Avodas Hashem, is not allowed to do it. Now I have the whole Jewish people are dancing around the Egel. How can I give him the whole tale? So he says, I can't give it to them. That's in one place.
Where is the next one?
Pesach, Korban Pesach. Then there is another Rashi. Later on, and then from a different angle, Rashi says that Moshe Rabbeinu broke the luchas in order to save the Eden from punishment, from destruction.
Can you just say the first explanation on that?
I'm sorry? Yeah. That Moshe Rabbeinu calculated, he figured like this: the Torah does not allow someone who had joined a different faith to eat from the Korban Pesach. So even one mitzvah in the Torah already rejects this. The whole Torah surely cannot be given to people who are doing this. So he broke the luchas. It doesn't belong to him. Then Rashi gives another reason. Under different circumstances, when Hashem finally tells Moshe Rabbeinu to go and cut out the stone to make new luchas, Asher Shebarta. So Rashi explains why this time Hashem told Moshe to make the luchas instead of giving him the luchas the same as he gave him the first time. So Rashi gives a whole explanation, a whole story of a moshel. You know what a moshel is? An allegory. A moshel of a melech, of a king, who had a collar, a betrothal. And then the king left the palace for a while. And he left the collar, his collar, together with the shvoches, with maidservants, with all kinds of different people in the palace.
So I'm going to say goodbye, and for Sukkot I will be back already.
Okay, oh, we are miss you. Okay, have a good trip and a good year. Maximum time.
Make sure you do Yom Kippur at the Canadian shul. I love the shul there. You need to prostrate 5 times. Seek forgiveness.
So Rashi explained. So this king left the palace for a while and came back, and there was a whole turmoil in the palace. The shvoches, these low-level people, they strayed, they did all kinds of things which are not appropriate. And the king became very upset and very angry, and he included his betrothed, his collar. He thought that she was also part of the group, because the whole group over there just went berserk. So the Shushvin, the king's closest friend, the king's closest secretary, he saw that his betrothed was in danger, and he knew that she was not involved in this misstep. So he went and he tore up the ksuba. He tore up the ksuba. The ksuba is like a testimonial that she's betrothed to the king. Now the ksuba is torn up, so therefore there is no testimony that she's betrothed. So the king came to punish take a a reckoning of what happened over here, he came to this betrothed to his collar, and the Shushreen said, "She's not a collar." So the king left her alone. She can't be punished because she is free. And then afterwards, he did full research and found out that she wasn't involved in the misdeed in the first place. At that point, the king said, "Okay, let's."
Rabbi, when are you going to Crown Heights?
Today.
At what time?
What time is it now? It's 5 o'clock. In about a half hour, probably.
Yeah, wonderful. Could I come with you then?
I think so.
Okay, great.
It's even greater because you're going to join us.
Yeah, for sure. So, please, just listen. Continue.
So now that the king wants to take her back, so the Shushreen, the secretary says you have to write her a new ksuba because the old one was torn up. So the king says to him, "You tore up the ksuba, so you write a new one." Okay, this is the motion. So the same thing with Hashem said to Moshe, "You broke the luchos, you build the new ones." It's a whole Indian behind that and all that. So on this point, the way Rashi explains the breaking of the luchos is that Moshe broke the luchos in order to save the Eden from punishment. Completely different perspective. In fact, the Rebbe points out that actually we need both of these reasons, because the first reason that they cannot have the Torah because they all sinned, and they can't give the Torah to sinners, that does not necessitate, does not require that you should break the luchos. You don't have to break the luchos. Don't give it to them. Hide it away. If you can't give it to them, hide it away. But you have to break the luchos for. But the second reason requires that the luchos be broken, so that there will be no contract between the Eden and the Meibush and Hashem. So therefore they won't be punished. Okay. So what do we see over there? That Moshe Rabbeinu broke the luchos in order to save the Yidden. This clearly tells us that really Yidden are so much superior to Torah that when it comes to saving Yidden, and the Rebbe points out which Yidden, such Yidden that strayed and made an ego, nevertheless, it justifies to break the luchos because Eden are much superior. So I want to discuss this a little bit. The Torah, we all know, I'm sure you all heard, you came across very extreme, high descriptions of the holiness and the greatness of Torah. It says in the Medrash that when Moshe Rabbeinu went out to the mountain to receive the Torah, the Malachim saw Moshe Rabbeinu over there, and they asked Hashem, what is a Yilud Isha, a woman's womb? What is a human being doing over here amongst us, the holy angels? And Hashem said to them, he came to receive the Torah. So the angel said, what kind of thing is this? You're giving the Torah to human beings? The Torah belongs to us. We are the holy angels. No heichal hashemayim, that's the expression. No heichal hashemayim, give you glory to the shamayim, to the heavens, to the higher creatures, not to the human being who's liable to do all kinds of things, to fall down to the dumps. And Hashem said to Moshe Rabbeinu, you answered them. You answered the Malachim, and they are on their argument. Moshe Rabbeinu then went ahead and he asked Hashem, tell me what it says in the Torah. And Hashem mentioned to him many things, such as Mitzrayim, Yitzias Mitzrayim, coming out of Mitzrayim, such as don't sin, and if you sin you get punished, all kinds of different things. So Moshe Rabbeinu said to him, Malachim, did you go to Mitzrayim? Do you have a Yetzer Hara that can bring you to make a sin that you need atonement for? You don't have all of these things. So why the Torah doesn't belong to you? The Torah belongs to us. Or we who are in Mitzrayim and we have a Yetzer Hara and we need atonement and we need something that can pull us out from all the depths. What does this tell us? That the Torah is such a caliber of such tremendous greatness and holiness that it can pull a Yidden out from the depth, from the Yetzer Hara. Despite the fact that he is a Yetzer Hara, and the fact that he goes to Mitzrayim, and despite the fact that we are in Golus for 2,000 years, the Torah can keep us alive. This is the greatness of the Torah. Eden, on the other hand, it would seem that they're not so great because they can actually sink and get dirty. The Torah cannot get dirty. The Torah cannot become impure. Yid can become impure. So therefore, who is greater? It seems that the Torah is greater. However, I want to give you a little bit of an allegory, of a mashal. A man is sinking, God forbid, in a patch of quicksand. Everyone knows what quicksand is?
Yes.
You know what quicksand is? Quicksand is like a soft earth. It's sand that is very deeply mixed with water. And it looks like earth when you first step on it. But then once you step on it, it starts sinking and you can't get out of it. The more you move around, you sink further. Quicksand. Quicksand. Huh? It sucks you in. What?
In Russian,
Which? Anyway, so, it's a very dangerous and very scary thing because you think you're okay. You're on solid ground. But every move you make, you go a half an inch deeper. And you can't get out. The only way to come out of quicksand, you can't swim out, you're not allowed to move. The only way to come out of quicksand, if somebody on dry land will throw you a rope, and you grab hold of that rope, and he begins to pull you. And he can pull you out. If you hold on tight enough, he can pull you out. It's the only way, really. I don't know if Boy Scouts figured out another method of getting out of it's a very, very dangerous thing. So now you have a man who has got to be stuck in this quicksand. And someone on the dry land sees him, and he quickly runs and gets a rope, throws him the rope. The man runs hold of him and ties around his arm, and the man begins to pull him, and he pulls him, and he pulls him, and pulls him, and finally he pulls him out. Both of these men have gone through a traumatic experience, right? It's quite a traumatic experience. The man on the dry land, he's thinking about this man sinking, and he has to save him. And the man in the pit. Which one of these two has gone a deeper traumatic experience? The one who was standing on dry land trying to save him, or the one who was in the pit being pulled out? What? The guy is in the pit. Right. This is the difference between the Torah and Israel. The Torah cannot become impure, and it can pull us out from any quicksand. But we, the Yidden, have a completely superior quality. We can be in the quicksand and come out. It's true, the Torah pulls us out. But it's quite a traumatic experience to come out of the quicksand and in good health and restore your life. Right?
But it's impossible for the Torah to be in quicksand.
The Torah does not fall into quicksand, but a Yid can be in quicksand.
It's not even, how could Torah be in quicksand? The whole thing is like, I am listening, exactly what I'm listening. I know, but I'm saying it's a mila. You're saying it's a mila that the Yidden come out of quicksand, but I don't understand. Obviously, Torah can't be in quicksand. There's no, it's Torah, you know. And Yisrael is a prisoner. Hashem gives Torah to people. People are able to make mistakes. They have bechira.
So who is greater? One who can get involved in the quicksand and become impure and drawn into it, and yet survive and come out and restore his life, or one who cannot possibly get sunk into it, like the Torah cannot be affected by it.
If you're talking about a tzaddik
I'm talking about you.
And about Shuvah, I can understand, but Torah and Bnei Yisrael, I don't understand. Because Torah is Torah. Bnei Yisrael is Bnei Yisrael. Adam is dealing with people.
Mordechai, I'd like to understand your question.
Is my question making no sense?
No, I don't understand your question.
The question is, when
Because
we're dealing with people, I can understand.
You know why I don't understand the question? Because your question is not to what I'm saying. Did you hear what I said? Listen carefully again. Torah is a very great thing. And how do we see its greatness? That it can pull a Yidden out from any impurity. Right? And Torah cannot become impure. It's tremendous greatness. That's why the Torah was given to us, not the Malachim. Because the Malachim don't need the Torah. We need that greatness of the Torah. So Torah is a very great thing, right?
Yeah.
A Yid is even greater than the Torah. How do we see a Yid can be greater? Because he can be in the pit, in the quicksand, and then be pulled out and restore his life.
You understand now, Mordechai?
So this is even greater. In other words, two great things that Hashem created, Torah and Yisrael. Between these two, Yisrael is a superior creation than even to Torah. As a matter of fact, Chassidus explains that Eden have this quality what's called bechira. Bechira means choice. To choose. Chassidus explains that the word choice, bechira, is properly applicable only when something is being chosen because of personal recognition, not because of any particular reason of superiority of this item versus another item. Even have bechira. Why do we see the bechira? So the Alter Rebbe explains, and we all know this, a Yid has a Yetzer Toiv, and a Yid has a Yetzer Hara. A Yid has a Yetzer Toiv and a Yetzer Hara. Now the Yetzer Toiv and the Yetzer Hara, you would think, oh, this is good and this is evil. How did evil can stand up to good? It's no challenge. It's a tremendous challenge. tremendous challenge. They're almost on equal stand, an equal power. Even though the Yetzer Toiv talks about godliness, and the Yetzer Hara talks about world and klippos, and it has got such power that he's torn. He's in constant turmoil. He's in constant war with himself. This capability to house together two very opposite qualities of Tov and Ra exists exclusively in the Yidden. Why? Because of the supreme greatness of a Yidden, that he is not bound and limited to one thing or another. This is in fact the reason that a Yid can make mistakes. He can fall into the quicksand and then come out. Because he has this superior quality, similar to Hashem himself. Hashem has absolutely free choice. He can do or not do as he wishes. Nothing compelling him to do or not to do. And so too is a Yid. And this is why when a Yid chooses to go on the Toiv, on the good side, the Yetzer Toiv, it is of tremendous merit. You know what merit means? Tremendous chus. Because this choice is done without coercion.
Without what?
Without coercion, nothing pressing him to do that. He does it because he recognizes he chooses the good over the bad. Completely a personal choice. Thus, this shows us that these two creations, the Yetzer Toiv, the Torah and Yisrael are actually superior to Torah. It's so to speak, a godly creation. Yisrael is really a model, so to speak, of godly power, even more than Torah itself. And this is the reason that Moshe Rabbeinu, in order to save the Jewish people, in order to save Yisrael, even Yisrael who were sinful, at the time when they were doing the sin, in order to save them, he broke the Torah, he broke the laws. And he broke the luchos in front of all the Le'enei Kol Yisrael, in front of all of them. He didn't hide it, going in quietly and break them. He broke them in front of them. He wanted to make the statement very clear to all to see that as great and holy the Torah is, as godly the Torah is, Yisrael under all circumstances are superior. And every Yid, eventually, no matter where he had sunk, no matter what quicksand he had been sinking, can and will eventually be drawn out of there. And when he's drawn out of there, he can quickly recuperate, he can quickly reorient himself and recognize what Yiddishkeit is or what life is, and rebuild his life. It's an amazing thing. I want to tell you something of our own time. It's before your time immediately, but still it's our own time. This is the aftermath of the Holocaust. You all know what the Holocaust was. It's beyond horror. Horror, beyond terror. The human being in the concentration camps was reduced to dust, reduced to nothingness. Way lower than an animal. It was treated way lower than an animal. And every moment they were waiting until they'd be sent to the chambers to be killed. Anyone who was still surviving is because they couldn't kill, the machine wasn't working fast enough to get everybody killed. They all knew that this is the direction that this is what they're waiting for. Can you imagine that? Even waiting under these circumstances. And they knew, they're just waiting their turn to have that shower. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
And in the meantime, they're living in these horrible conditions, with these animals ruling them and all that. I want to mention two things. One, that was a story among many where they spared off some of the fat, some of butter or whatever it is that they had. They saved it till Hanukkah. Whatever fat they had, not to the person, was given any kind of schmaltz, and they saved it. Hanukkah came, they made Hanukkah lichtlach. They spared it from their own food.
The Jews?
Yeah, of course the Jews. And they make Hanukkah lichtlach. And lighting Hanukkah lichtlach, what's the matter? What's the matter? Lighting Hanukkah lichtlach in the camp itself was punishable immediately. Poof, the Nazis would get extremely angry the minute they saw him doing anything Yiddish. And they would treat him like animals. Beat him to death on the spot, all these kind of things. Hidden in some kind of a basement someplace in a dark alley. And they lit Hanukkah. While they were in that situation, they lit this Hanukkah lichtlach, and they actually glorified in the lights of the Hanukkah lichtlach. Oh, we had an opportunity to do this mitzvah. That's one story I wanted to tell you that demonstrates the deep power of a Yid. And the other, on the happier side, that one of the greatest miracles of the Holocaust was after the camps were liberated. And the camps were liberated, and even all of a sudden, just overnight, were given the freedom. And okay, you're back in the human race. You're humans all of a sudden. It didn't take him a day to stand up and say, okay, where am I? What am I up to? What do I need to do to restore my life? What do you think would be the reaction of a simple, of a human being treated like that for years? He would be depressed. He would be angry. He would go away cursing. Would he think about rebuilding his life? Where does he have the mood? Where does he have the spirit for that? It's completely destroyed. All of these Eden that we are talking about, all of them had families prior to the Holocaust. their families were all exterminated. Husbands, wives, fathers, mothers, children, brothers, everyone. Remained one out of a huge family, and lost everything, alone. Some of them were still quite young, and they immediately were able to get themselves together, gather up, so to speak, their spirit, gather up their faith, and start rebuilding their lives. They realized that their families have been destroyed, that their communities have been destroyed, and the only way to save it is to quickly get up on your feet and start living, and start building new families. The most shocking thing that I ever heard was that right there in the concentration camps, they already made chuppahs. They didn't go out to many dates into the restaurants. They made chuppahs to restore, start a new family, start a new life.
Wow.
Because they had this eternal spirit in them, this godly spirit. They're not going to let the Jewish people dissipate, to be destroyed. Whatever is left, they will rebuild it.
While they're in the concentration camps?
What?
You said they made chuppahs while they were in the concentration.
It must have been really hard.
So this is clearly, a clear statement. And this is what the Torah says. The very end of the Torah, the greatest point that Moshe Rabbeinu has made throughout his lifetime, is that we should know for all times that as great as the Torah is, the Jewish person is even greater. And the Jewish person, even one who sins, who makes the egel, who brings about the breaking of the luchas, even he can be restored, can be redeemed, can be reclaimed, and get up on his feet and become a full-fledged Jew. And become, so to speak, a model, a representative of God's presence in the world. Without any limit. As we always conclude, this is our day. This is our time. I remember going back in the times of 1960s and even before in the 50s, when the Rebbe first started to speak about going out and helping the young people to come back to Yiddishkeit. The young people, the youth. And nobody believed the Rebbe. The young people, they are interested. They're interested in baseball and college and in money and all kinds of different things. And the Rebbe said, no, not true. You go and present to them the traditional, the real Yiddishkeit, and you will see how they will grab to it. I remember, this is a tragic thing, but just there's the point. You know that the conservatives and the Reform, they said, we want to save Yiddishkeit. We want to create Yiddishkeit that the young people, the modern people, will be able to relate to. Otherwise, they'll assimilate into, completely out of the Jewish nation. Which is a total mistake, total misunderstanding. A Jewish person a young person wants the authentic Yiddishkeit. And they can't stand when you give it to them, and when you don't give it to them in the authentic way. There was, that we have, now it's multiple times, more than once a year, a few times a year, it's called Pegisha, the encounter with Chabad, Pegisha in Chabad. Students from universities come to Scar Heights, and they have all kinds of sessions for a weekend. They would also have sessions and they talk, lectures and discussions for bringing all kinds of different things. So I remember in the early years when this first started, there was one of these pegishas. Now with the pegishas, they represent like hundreds of people, couple hundred, 300 people. Then it was a small group of students, 20 students maybe, and they had a weekend here in 770 in Crown Heights. And then one of the students who attended this Gisha went back home. He went to visit his Reform rabbi, and he shot him.
What?
He shot him?
Dead?
I don't remember. I don't want to. He shot him.
He shot the Reform rabbi?
Whoa. That must have been crazy.
It's clear that's not, God forbid. The point is to say that the student preferred Reform Judaism because it's more lenient to authentic Judaism is a total lie. What?
You said he was upset?
He was so upset. Why are you lying to me? You're such beautiful Yiddishkeit. Why are you lying to me?
No,
Yeah. You're lying to me for so many years.
What happened to this guy?
I really don't know what happened. This is not, I'm just pointing out from a different angle completely. This is not what we are expecting to happen after that. So, bottom line, you have to know, the Torah is like this security rope that can pull everybody out from wherever they are. And you have to tie yourself very tight to it. Otherwise, it's hard to pull out from the quicksand. Quicksand is a heavy sand, heavy earth. Tie yourself very deep, very strongly with it, and it'll raise you up. And you'll come out, and you wash yourself, change your clothes, and you become a new person. And you forget about this whole transition, this whole period of confusion. And you see life clearly and beautifully, and you build your a beautiful home, Mitzvah Hashem, with all the blessing that comes with the Jewish home. And with this, Mitzvah Hashem, we will all together go and greet Mashiach.
Amen.
Amen.